So, does anybody else feel like everything is criminalized these days? There are like a ridiculous amount of felonies on the books, and I wanted to get like a number that I could give you of like how many actual felonies can you commit at the federal level? And I found out that nobody actually knows. Nobody has an actual accurate count of the amount of felonies there are. People think that there's like maybe 3 to 5,000 felonies at the federal level. That's kind of insane to me. Like if I think about what is a felony, like probably like, murdering somebody is a good example of a felony, right? I'm finding out that it used to be a felony, and it's not anymore, but it used to be a felony to log into a personal bank account on a work computer. It was in violation of the CFAA, which is a complete mess of a law. I just think it's ridiculous that there is so many felonies that they're completely uncountable. The problem with this is if nobody knows what's a felony and what's not, outside of what they're probably using their common sense for, it makes de jure law essentially irrelevant. Basically, if something is on the books, it doesn't matter. All that matters is how that law is enforced. And I know in the US we have something called a common law system, which basically says that the law on the books is only as valid as the courts decide. So I feel like our legal system in the US is 100% de facto law. It doesn't matter if something is made illegal or not. What matters is it actually enforced? Like I said before, it used to be illegal to log into a personal bank account on a work computer, right? Because you're accessing financial information and you're breaking a terms of service of what you can use that work computer for. The funny thing is, for a while, they thought that the CFAA could apply to you breaking terms of service on any website. So any terms of service violation, and think of how many times we violate terms of service every day. Like, come on. Every violation would be a felony. Now, that did go through the court system, and luckily that is not the application of the law that we have today, but it very well could have been. And if you remember anything about Aaron Swartz, one of the co-founders of Reddit, the creator of RSS, was essentially hit with the giant baton of the CFAA after downloading a large amount of academic journal PDFs from JSTOR. The federal government decided that they really did not like that, and they hit him really as hard as they could. He was going to get like a decent amount of jail time for this. He killed himself shortly before his sentencing, I believe. But that just goes to show you, if the federal government doesn't like you, and there are conspiracies around Aaron and potential involvement of him with WikiLeaks, but if the government doesn't like you for whatever reason, they'll just take one of the 3 to 5,000 felonies on the books and apply it to you. There's a lot of crimes, a lot of felonies where the government doesn't do anything, they lose interest or whatever. But every once in a while, they say they're making an example out of somebody, which means that for whatever reason, the government just does not like that person. I feel like a lot of laws are just made out of the fear of the times. And now there's a lot of talk about regulating AI and stuff. And I know I saw some news story about like deepfake porn of Taylor Swift, and everybody's really mad about it. First of all, hasn't that been going on for like over a decade at this point? I feel like it's not really new, but now that AI is a popular hot topic, suddenly the government feels the need to, well, I shouldn't say the government because it's not the government yet, but I do see some impending legislation surrounding artificial intelligence and the use of neural networks. In my opinion, is kind of dumb. First of all, how are you going to enforce that, And second of all, like, really? This is the problem we're worried about? What people are jerking off to? I guess, if you're using it in a harassing way, I can see a case for that. I don't really like to make ethical arguments per se, so I'm not going to say anything about that. But what I will say is that the government should probably not be involved in this. It's kind of funny. There's a book out there called 3 Felonies a Day, I believe. It's essentially about this problem of how the legal system is so filled with felonies that the average American is committing 3 felonies a day. I feel like we just need less criminalization of people's personal behavior. If this is a corporate problem, sure, I don't see a problem with the government regulating business entities. I feel like that's not what most legislation is around. And this may just be like a media thing. Think about what people get scared about, what people are fearful about, what people are going to be writing to their Congress people about. The fear comes from, what's person A going to do to me, person B? I feel like people are a lot less scared of what's corporation A or what's government A going to do to me, What is the purpose of the government? Is it to regulate our personal lives, I just don't think so.